Hello, welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast. My name is Katie Bell. I'm super excited to bring you this week's episode, which if you employ a team within your clinic or you are thinking about moving to an employed model, you are going to want to listen to the rest of this episode. I am going to try and attempt to break down the changes that we are seeing in terms of the minimum wage increase and the changes to our employers' allowance, national insurance contributions, and what that actually means for you as a clinic owner, what you need to be thinking about, how you need to be interpreting those changes to ensure that your business remains profitable. So stay around, grab a cup of tea, tune in, get your calculators out, tune in for this week's episode. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast with Katie Bell. I'm Katie, and this is the place where clinic owners like you learn the strategies, tools, and mindset shifts needed to transform your clinic into a thriving business, one that gives you more time, more money, and more freedom. Born from a passion to challenge the idea that average is normal, we empower clinic owners to create extraordinary businesses, incomes, and lives. Through our world-class coaching programs, we help you step out of overwhelm and into confidence, turning your clinic into a business that fuels your lifestyle, not draining it. So, are you ready? Let's dive in. I'm delighted to tell you this episode of the Treat Your Business podcast is proudly brought to you by Nookal, the leading practice management software designed to streamline operations and empower every allied health clinic. Their platform seamlessly handles every aspect of your clinic, from scheduling and clinical note-taking to invoicing and reporting. Their innovative solution will help streamline your clinic and free up your valuable time, allowing you to focus on delivering better patient care and growing your business. So if you're tired of juggling multiple systems and wasting precious hours on administrative tasks, then experience the innovation of Nookal and discover how it can improve the efficiency and profitability of your practice. Visit nookal.com today to learn more about how their automated features and user-friendly interface can revolutionize the way you manage your practice. Unlock the full potential of your clinic with Nookal, the practice management software that puts you in control of your time. Now, let's get back to business. Okay, so 1st of April, 2025, a few days ago, if you are listening to this as it goes out live, then we saw some changes to national minimum wage increasing by 6.7% for over 21s and a change to our employers' national insurance contributions and various layers around that. I always think it's really, A, the government really like to confuse us. B, they seem to be wanting to make it harder and harder for business owners to, one, survive and two, actually make any money. My job is to calm it all down for you, explain it in a really simple way, but that also means and shows you the things you can do about it, the things that you can prepare for, how you can adapt your clinic to, I guess, ride the wave of all of these changes that we are seeing. So let me break this down. Start with national insurance, okay? Basically, the amount of employers, so us as the boss, employers' national insurance contributions have risen. Okay, so we were paying 13.8%. It's gone up to 15%. It's a 1.2% increase in national insurance contributions. What they've also done is last year and years before, they said, I tell you what, the first £9,100 of national insurance contributions that you have to pay as an employer, you don't have to pay. But this year, they've decided that they're going to reduce that. So they're only going to give us £5,000 worth of kind of leeway where we don't have to start contributing, right, per employee. So what also then happens is the employees, the people that work for you, are getting a benefit. They were paying 10% national insurance. They're now going to pay 8%. So they will ultimately see a little bit more in their net pay packet every month. Okay, so they have a win. That is on anything earned between 12,570, which is our personal tax allowance, and up to 50,270, right? So they're paying 2% less. So what this means is that it's going to ultimately cost us more as a clinic owner to have staff work for us. But what they've also done, the government, is that they've given us an allowance. So there's two ways of looking at this. We start paying national insurance sooner on each individual, but they've given us more of an allowance to use. So as a company, you get now £10,500 allowance, like they're gifting you, basically 10.5 grand. It was 5,000. So what that means is that your total national insurance bill in the year can be reduced by £10,500. I'm hoping I'm breaking this down easily enough for you. Right. So let's say that you are a clinic owner listening to this and you're like maybe about to employ one person or maybe even two people. And let's say one, okay, and they're going to cost you £35,000 if they were working for you full time, right? Now, your employer national insurance cost is £0. National insurance contribution is being covered by the employer's allowance because the employer's allowance is 10,500. Their contribution at a £35,000 wage would be £4,500. Now, we work that out in a certain way. I'm going to explain this to you the best I possibly can. Let's say you've got 4 members of staff, right? You work out their total gross salary. We minus the threshold that we start paying. So we minus 5,000 because we don't pay national insurance until they hit 5,000. So we take that off each one and then we times it by 0.15 because that gives us 15%. So 35,000, take £5,000, so £30,000 now, times 0.15, £4,500. Now, if you were only employing one member of staff, that still sits in your 10,500 employees allowance. So you're not paying the national insurance on those. If you had 2 members of staff on 35,000, you would still pay no national insurance because you've not hit your 10,500 allowance. So it starts to build a bigger picture for you in terms of when your national insurance contributions kick in, how much you're going to be paying, and therefore you can work out what the total cost of that employed person is in your company. Okay. Let's say you've got 4 members of staff that were working for you. You would get a total of their gross salary. Okay. Let's say they're on 35,000, 43,000, 27 and 50 grand. Total all that up. So you've got a total gross salary. You would take off your employer's allowance, 10,500, and then times that by 0.15. That gives you your total employer's national insurance contributions for the year. Okay. And then you could divide that by 12 and that gives you monthly. So that starts to allow you to really work out what each one is costing you. You've obviously got pension contributions to pay in addition to that. So £35,000 is not what it's actually going to cost you, depending on how many members of staff you've got and when your employer's allowance then runs out and you start paying national insurance contributions. So it's not to be feared. Okay, there is some win for us. There's a little bit of win here that there's 2% national insurance reduction to employees. So therefore, let's look at this from all your clients who are possibly employed will be paying less national insurance. They will have a little bit more in their wage packet. How old school do I sound? And in their gyro. That's an old saying, isn't it? And therefore, possibly have a little bit more money to expend on a monthly basis. Employers, we're paying more national insurance. We're paying it sooner, but they're giving us a bigger allowance. So then there is a negligible difference in what that is actually going to look like. So we don't need to be like panicky. You need to do the maths. If you are one of our Thrive members, there is a employee national insurance calculator in the members area for you. So you can start, it's going to do all the maths for you. And it can start really factoring in what is knowing the true cost of that employee in terms of the whole picture of your business, depending on how many people you employ. So we want to then think about, when we know the total cost of the employee to us, what's the return on investment that we are getting? We can then set our capacity rates. We can set our performance metrics based on what it is they really need to be doing in your business to cover their employee cost, because that doesn't even factor in the room cost, the marketing cost, the equipment cost, the insurance cost. All of those additional administrative costs have to be taken into consideration as well. So when we are looking at therapy staff and those who are driving revenue from seeing patients, we are looking at a 3 times return. So if somebody was costing me, let's say 35,000 as a basic, as their salary, they're not costing me that because I've got to add my national insurance and my pension contributions in. Let me just make that up to, say they're going to cost me 40 to 42,000 pounds in the year. It's probably less than that. Then I need them to be making in the clinic, generating about 120,000 pounds worth of revenue. Okay. And we can start to then see if the pricing that you have in your company, in your clinic, is actually going to produce that. Or are you giving them too much admin time, too much downtime, too many meeting times, so that the ability for them to drive revenue in your clinic is being reduced and the margin there is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. This also, I guess, leads us into the argument of, shall I employ somebody or shall I put them on a freelance contract? Now, I am just in the throes of organizing a employment HR like rules and laws that are changing for employers, what we need to know. And we're going to host that for you guys that you can come and attend. So if you are thinking about recruiting or you have team, you're going to want to be at this webinar, because the guy running it he knows a lot. And there is also some rules around freelance and the way that we treat them, and some stuff changing there as well. So we need to be really careful about whether actually we need to be employing somebody, or we could still use them as a freelance practitioner. But if they're taking 50 to 60% of, or 40 to 60% really, of your session cost, you're just not going to be making enough money. Ultimately, your business won't be profitable. And if you start increasing your prices when people are on a percentage, then if you put your prices up by £1 and somebody's on 50%, you just give away 50p straight away. So is it even worth doing a price increase when all you get is 50p extra? Probably not. When everything else in your business has increased, particularly over the last few months, we're seeing a huge price increase across all our amenities and our services and things. We really have to know the true cost. It's so important. And that allows us to make good employment decisions. I think I've covered everything in employers, national insurance contributions rise, and how that's going to impact us as clinic owners. Guys, don't stress about it. We run a massive clinic. It's making a bit of difference, but it's not making a whole lot of difference. We've got to put a price rise in place to negate that. We've got to work on our retention. We've got to work on all of those things. As long as you know your numbers, you know what decisions you should be making. So the second thing that we're seeing happen on the 1st of April was the 6.7% increase in national minimum wage for 21 and over. It has gone up as well for the other categories, but I'm going to focus on most of you mainly have 21-year-olds and over in your clinic. So what this ultimately means for us is that we have higher wage bills. To give anybody in your business a 6.7% pay rise is wild. Absolutely wild. That's a lot of money. It would normally be like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3% that you might see an inflationary increase, but 6.7% on the back of what was a massive one last year, it is going to create huge problems, not just in our industry, but across all industries that have a large proportion of workers that might sit in this category. So what this actually means, if you employed somebody full-time on the national minimum wage, it's going to cost you £1,500 more a year to employ them on their wage. Obviously, you then have national insurance contributions as well. So you have got to, if you have got people, maybe client care administrators or people or cleaners or whoever is that in this wage bracket, you have to budget. You have got to see what impact this is going to have on your clinic moving forwards. You've got to make sure everybody's compliant. So you should have done this by the 1st of April already. It needs to be happening now. You need to do an amendment to their contract. And you need to be aware that this is going to create possibly a squeeze on senior staff. What we're seeing is that there is a reduced gap then between where they like your lower salaries were and the next level and then the next level up. So it's really important that you don't just react, but that you review regularly your wages. We have ours are always in September with our annual reviews. We don't really do it any other time of the year unless we've got this situation right now where we've got to increase the minimum wage. But that doesn't mean everybody else is going to get to change this month, because that's not great business. So review your wages regularly. That's really important. Create clear progression pathways for your team. Like, as you're going to have to offer inflationary pay increases, but also as you go up in salaries, there needs to be a change of role, a change of responsibilities that warrants paying that additional amount. And you still have to look at that return on investment in your clinic. What does your clinic actually need them doing at that level? And this is where a tiered pricing structure can come in really well, because as they become more senior staff, they warrant a bigger salary, and therefore you may have to charge more for them. And then think about non-monetary benefits as well. So think about flexible working, think about CPD allowance, think about maybe a bonus scheme on performance or a profit share based on performance. There is other ways that you can make people's roles more appealing than just giving away more money all the time. But you've got to measure which is the best option. If you're going to give away more than £1,500 a year on a full-time member of staff for CPD, then you may as well just pay them the increase in wage, because that's what it's costing you ultimately. Now, so just always measure the two against each other rather than just make a quick snap decision. And as your clinic grows, we need a balance between junior and senior staff because of the wage difference and the return on investment and the differences of roles and responsibilities within your clinic. But there are certain times, and it's really difficult, I know, when you're a younger business or a smaller business, you haven't got time for junior stuff. Like, I get it. It's a massive time investment, effort, energy, and the churn rate is a lot higher. And therefore, actually, what you need is somebody that can generate clinical revenue at a high level and just get on with the job. And then as your team builds, you then might want to build in that junior level because you've got more team that can support them. You've got a more robust plan rather than it all just landing on your shoulders. So remember that you've got this £10,500 employer's allowance. So it doesn't automatically mean if you bring in somebody as your first recruit on a slightly higher wage that it's going to cost you a fortune. Yeah, okay, you've got the wage to pay, but you should be seeing what they need to be seeing from a number of patients to break even. And then those become your performance metrics. And some of the employment laws that we are hearing are going to change is very much about the employers really not having any rights whatsoever. Shock horror. But the employees having loads more rights. And that one of the things is being talked about is that they're going to get full employment rights from day one of working with us. Great. In my opinion, great, because now employers have got to performance manage from day one. There's no fucking about anymore. There's no hiring average staff and allowing average people to be average at their job. This is going to create a culture that if you are not performance measured and managed from day one, like, you are going to be tied into a company and they're going to rinse you for everything and you're going to run a shit business. If you can performance manage from day one, you can get great, hire really well. You put them on a clear performance plan, metrics, and you measure their work. We're going to demand a better level and a better standard of work from our people out there than what was before, where they don't have full employment for 2 years. So we just let them start, let them see how they get on. Everything takes too long. And we don't really measure their performance, and we just allow an average standard of work. So I think this is a great thing if this comes in. But it also means that you can start doing this stuff now. You can start getting into the habit now of measuring how well people are doing and giving them key metrics that they must be focused on and working towards, and having clear goals that they are expected to achieve as part of their role. So those are the kind of immediate changes that we're seeing this April. Hopefully it's giving you a bit more information in a simple format. And if it still puts the fear of God into you, then you need to look at the bigger picture of the benefits of employing somebody and the buy-in that they have. The more control you generally have as an employer, you're more protected. It is a more resilient business model. And ultimately, where your business is going to require you to employ people rather than just have a whole bunch of freelance people that could leave tomorrow with no notice and take most of the clients with them, because ultimately your agreements aren't going to really stand up in court. And you've got to think about protecting you as the business owner and what your business needs moving forward. So keep your eye on the big picture. Don't stress. Get clear on your numbers. If you're a member, Thrive member, listening to this, head to your members area to look at your employer's national insurance calculator, and don't be put off. Just take control, do the research, get clear on your data, get clear on your numbers, and then make an informed decision from there. You can do this. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, everybody. More from me over the coming months, lots of solo episodes coming up, but also lots of very fabulous guests.